Hi, everybody. Welcome to Candid ChemE. I'm Libby.
I'm Jude.
I'm Shruti.
And I'm Julia.
And we're just going to be talking about what our life is like as ChemE students at UT Austin.
Libby, why don't you start with giving us a little bit of background on yourself?
Sure. My name is Libby. I am going into my third year at UT as a chemical engineering major. I'm originally from Fort Worth, Texas, and I went to high school at the Texas Academy of Math and Science, which is in Denton, Texas.
I guess I'll go next. My name is Shruti. I'm also a third-year chemical engineering student. We're actually all third-year chemical engineering students. It's kind of nice. I went to high school in Cinco Ranch High School, which is in a suburb of Houston.
I'll go next. I am Jude. Like Shruti said, we're all in our third year at UT Austin. I'm from Plano, Texas originally. I really love this suburb. I can see Julia trying not to laugh. The zoning here is beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful suburb. I'm definitely a homebody. I've been living in Houston lately. The streets here are not kind to my car. But yeah, I'm from Plano. Went to high school at Plano West Senior High School, a gigantic school filled with a lot of competitive kids. So it's definitely shaped who I am. I definitely have a little Plano in me that comes out from time to time. But I'm working on getting that down and under control.
Okay, so I'll go last, I guess. So I'm Julia. I'm a little bit different than the rest of them because I am from Maryland, and that's where I am now. So I'm from about 30 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. I went to high school at Eleanor Roosevelt High School, which if you're listening in Texas, you probably have no idea what that is. So I'm going to give a little bit of background on why I came to UT because it's not quite as clear for me than for everyone else, because I really had only been to Texas once before I came to UT. So I really applied because of the ranking of the chemical engineering program. Like, I had no context of anything about UT. And then when I got in, I was deciding between a couple other schools, and the reason I chose UT was because I had a really good time when I visited. And then I wasn't really sure about engineering, and I'm still not really sure about engineering. So I wanted a school that could also offer me things outside of engineering. So like I'm double majoring in government, so I can get like the engineering, and then also I can pursue other interests outside of it.
Julia, you talked about why you came to UT. I guess my reason was kind of the most logical reason. I don't know if it was the same for Jude and Shruti. It was like I got into UT when we applied, what was it, number 6 chemical engineering program in the nation? Number 6 chemical engineering program in the nation. It was relatively inexpensive compared to other colleges, so it just kind of made sense. I don't know, Jude and Shruti, did y'all have a different experience?
That was, yeah, definitely my experience was just that it was the cheapest, because at the end of my senior year of high school, I really wanted to get out of Texas. I was like, I don't care. But then, like, the reality hit me of how expensive college was. And, like, for me, it was between Georgia Tech or UT. And Georgia Tech gave me, like, very little scholarship or help. But UT was actually more generous than I was expecting. So I was able to come here for the price was right, I guess one could say. So that's why I came here. And something I'll talk about, because I don't know if this is what other people experience, but a lot of people from my high school went to UT, and I thought that was something that was going to be horrible because I wanted to make college like a new chapter instead of just a continuation of high school. But UT is really so big, you can like reinvent yourself in a way. Like, you're not stuck with the same people you came in with. So that was something I would like to let people know. If you're worried about going to a college that a lot of your high school peers go to, it's really not going to be a problem because UT's just so big.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I know. I'm just, yeah, you want to get away from those high school punks, but yeah, you will be able to. I ran.
Well, I mean, none of us knew each other before this, and now
exactly.
Like, I would definitely say you guys are my closest friends
yes.
from college. I guess
Yeah.
in college, we're still in college.
I mean, for me, I went to a high school of, I guess, I don't even know how many people graduated with me. I think it was around 180. 60 of them ended up at UT, and I'm still acquaintances with them, but like they're not the people I go to on an everyday basis for stuff. Like that's y'all. So you can definitely kind of reinvent yourself, even if you go to a high school or a college that is essentially like your high school.
Yeah. My experience was pretty similar to Jude's.
Mhm.
A lot of people, like basically half of the people went to A&M or UT from my school, and I was like, did not want to have anything with that, especially with A&M, because I kind of noticed most people who went to A&M from my school kind of stuck together, and I was like, I don't want that. I mean, number one, going to A&M.
Yeah, having to outie. No.
Yeah, I was mostly looking at schools in California, and I was really set on that because I didn't want to do like the types of chemical engineering that UT offered, because I had heard it was a lot of oil and gas stuff, and I didn't really want to do that kind of stuff. I wanted to do something more sustainable or closer to like biotech or pharmacy. So that was why I was interested in the California schools, and it took me actually visiting there to realize like maybe this isn't the best decision. Like it's really nice, but then talking with the students and like the faculty over there, they were like, why do you want to come here? Like UT is such a good, like such a good quality of education, especially for an in-state student. And then even talking, like I was looking at Berkeley and just talking with the students there, they were like, if you're okay with having like a 2.4 GPA, and like dealing with that and keeping your mental health up, then you should come here. And that was what kind of sealed it for me.
Yeah, I also visited Berkeley, and I got a very similar vibe of like it's very high stress. And I mean, I feel like we're under a lot of stress at UT, but I felt like it was not the same degree of like high strung, high stress.
Yeah. They also told me they basically don't care about their undergrads at Berkeley. I'm not sure how true that is, to put that out there. But they're more of a graduate focused school. So maybe it would be better to look into like a higher ranking or more expensive school for graduate school, but not for undergrad. Because grad school is where it matters if you're interested in that for ChemE.
Do we want to talk about why we're doing this, like what we're a part of?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you two?
What is
Yes.
YouTube, dude?
Oh, UCHU, don't laugh. It stands for Undergraduate Chemical Engineering Women. And it's the org here. It's fairly new. I want to say it was like 2016 maybe.
I think that's right.
Okay, yeah. So it's pretty new. And it's basically an organization within the chemical engineering department, run by women. Everyone is welcome to join, and there's no membership fees, and it's just a really welcoming environment. I remember being in freshman year and just liking the vibe there, because some other clubs can be it can be a lot to handle your first year of them talking to you about, this is how to get a job with us, this is how you need to network. That can be, sometimes you don't want that, and it's those things are important, but sometimes you just want a group of people that you can feel safe around and know you have a community. So that was probably a little bit too personal versus an actual introduction, but that's what I feel about you too, if anyone wants to add anything.
Yeah, I can add that I know the mission statement for UCHU is to really help build a community among chemical engineering women, because women in engineering are typically a minority. Luckily in chemical engineering, it's not as bad on the disparity, but it's just really to help like build a community and have other women to go talk to. And all of the other majors at UT in engineering have similar organizations. So there's one for mechanical, one for aerospace, one for civil, and it's just a really good community.
We do a lot of fun events. We do like socials. All our meetings are pretty chill. And I just really like YouTube because even in the normal chemical engineering environment, like going to classes and other things, there's always a little bit of competitiveness that you feel like
A
But
little.
it's like so much more chill. Like you feel like you're trying to make friends and not necessarily trying to beat people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You feel like you could ask someone for help and they would actually want to help you?
that's a big thing. There's obviously always a time and place for those big orgs that are meant to help you network and stuff, but UT was more of a place where I got to meet people that I could be friends with, and I could ask them more personal questions. So, okay. Well, do we want to try and answer the what is chemi question?
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like it's so vague because there's so much we can do, but the basis of it is turning raw materials into products.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a definition we could go off of? Evaluate it?
According to UT Austin's chemical engineering website, chemical engineering uses mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology to develop chemical transformations and processes to create useful products and materials that improve society. It is one of the most broadly based engineering disciplines, creating high demand for chemical engineers across a variety of industries and professions. Okay, now we can make that more understandable. I definitely agree. It uses math, physics, chemistry, and biology. You definitely kind of need an overview of all of that, I would say. Maybe less physics than some other engineering disciplines.
I would say less physics in the mechanics sort of physics. We definitely still use physics, but you can just learn what you need as you go. Like you don't have to feel like you're like the strongest physics student ever to
You do not have to
succeed
come
in
into
school.
UT with all of that knowledge. That's why they're here. That's why they make you take physics and make you take physical chemistry and all that stuff, is because you're not expected to come in with knowledge of fluid mechanics and things like that.
Yeah.
I found it's definitely less theoretical too. It's more like applying math.
Yeah, I definitely kind of realized that in the difference between physical chemistry and thermodynamics. So physical chemistry was the natural sciences course that we all took, and that was very theory based. And you would kind of have these thought experiments. What were they called? Gedanken? Was that him?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And then for thermodynamics, we were applying a lot of those concepts, at least for the first part of the semester, to an actual like system, to like a refrigeration system or to a heating system. So it just kind of takes this theoretical and puts it into a very practical uses of what you would see.
I think that's a great answer. I mean, it's so hard to truly define chemical engineering because there's no two experiences that are the same. Even if we all went into oil and gas, we would all have such vastly different experiences in what we were doing. But I think it's just that basis of applying those more basic skills to process diagrams and what's happening.
Yeah, I had a boss that was a chemical engineer for an internship in high school, and he basically told me like the difference between like chemistry and chemical engineering is like a chemist is worried about like making a new reaction or discovering something new in chemistry, and a chemical engineer's job is to take that and scale it up and be able to actually produce that, because you run into a lot of problems with like volume and like how things, viscosity, and like how things will actually work, and that's what a chemical engineer is focused on rather than the inventing new chemistry. Yeah, I think that answers it to the best of our ability. I feel like you just kind of learn it as you go, and it's very different. Like everyone just has, as we were saying, a different experience with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it fully answers it. I feel like as a high schooler, if I was listening to that, I would say, that was frustrating. You didn't even answer the question.
Yeah.
But it's something that I've experienced it, and that's why I know what it is, but it's hard to put that into words. And it's even harder to draw parallels to your high school classes or something.
Oh yeah, it's a completely different type of class. And even like different classes we take don't, like some of them don't connect like very fluidly. Like there's definitely I think like the degree plan gives you a bunch of different classes that give you like the base set of skills, but then when you choose the the industry you actually want to go in, you're going to learn all that specialized knowledge once you get there. Like depending on what industry you choose. And do you want to touch on like UT is a very oil and gas
Shruti mentioned it
school?
earlier, but we
Okay,
didn't really talk about it anymore, but we can talk about that. It was something I didn't know going into it. I had no idea that UT was an oil and gas engineering school and that the California schools were more like tech-based and
and then
stuff
the
like
north
that.
would be like more probably chemicals, pharmaceuticals.
I don't even know what the north is.
Manufacturing, the north.
Yeah, I know the north, like companies similar to 3M operate over there.
And that's a lot of like geography and things too. But yeah,
not to say that you can't do other things when
it's just the majority.
Yeah, like at a career fair, the UT has a lot of ties with oil and gas companies, so they're gonna extend that invitation probably to them first because they're the ones donating the most. That's something to be aware of, and you could definitely get into other industries. But if you come to UT, getting a career in oil and gas is gonna be like it's gonna be a linear step path the way UT's designed it. Versus if you went somewhere in the north and wanted to do oil and gas, you might have to like look for it more yourself. But you can of course do everything, but that's something I definitely had no idea about.
Yeah, I just like to touch on that a little bit more. Like, I'm really passionate about sustainability, and I don't think I would ever want to work for an oil and gas company. However, I feel like I'm going to be able to impact more change in sustainability now that I have a better understanding of the oil and gas industry, even though I would never want to necessarily work for one of those companies. Just having that background and understanding and just knowing a lot of people in that industry has given me a really interesting perspective as someone that's not from Texas, and someone that doesn't necessarily want to go into oil and gas. I think it's still a really valuable background to have, especially like if you want to do something in sustainability.
No school is locking you down into anything. It's just you might hear more people talking about oil and gas than you would about something else.
Yeah, you'll have more exposure to it. But you're not locked down.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a good place to end it. What do y'all think?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for listening to the Candid ChemEs. If you have any questions or have something you want us to talk about, go ahead and email texasyouchoo@gmail.com, and we will try and get there. Thank y'all.
Bye.